Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talk Sunday Stream of Consciousness. How's everybody doing today? Sorry, a little bit of slow transition from the big football show, but we're here and we're live until about 10:45. I still got I got the sound on. I was checking. Hold on one second. Jesus Christ. There we go. Oh, I want to welcome everybody this morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the groups. Some of which you can see following, scrolling at the bottom. All the groups that allow us to share, we certainly thank them every week, especially the ones you guys that see at the bottom. John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities, Greg Rawlings at the America's Pastime, the Love for Baseball, Flo and the gang at Bottom Line Sports. Flo should be home soon. We wish him a safe return. Let's Talk Sports, where Flo and the gang do their podcasting. Golf Buds, Sports of All Sorts, Ken Krause's group, and many, many, many more. And a quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Ocean City, Maryland now, but Pittsburgh focused national footprint. I'll be on with Jack and Smoking Jim Frazier Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. I should be on about 4:30, and I'll certainly simulcast the show that day. And Jack and I will be on tomorrow morning with the Jack and Keith weekend playbook. Lots to talk about there, and I'll try to get a word in edgewise. As you saw, if you watched, you didn't see it because I had stopped sharing. I have to stop sharing the show before I leave because I can't get this show on live. But we'll see how that goes. And a programming note, because I have an HOA meeting at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, we are going to do the college football. And I might be moving it permanently. I don't know. Some of the guys who are regulars there have talked about keeping it on Tuesdays. I'm going to try Tuesday at 6 o'clock this week and see how it goes. You guys can let me know what your thoughts are. Lots to talk about today. Mark Sanchez, interesting story. College football, Penn State and James Franklin. Make some more excuses in your post-game press conference, would you, James? Because I didn't get enough. You stunk. Your team stunk. You lose to one of the worst teams in the country. We'll talk about that. Texas falls to Florida. Billy Napier getting his annual turnaround. That Florida team is still talented. They play good defense. Miami dominates for 3 quarters, but kind of falls asleep. Bama beats Vanderbilt. I had one of the worst bad beats of my life, and I think it's because of Diego Pavia and what he said before the game. Belichick gets blown out again. Texas Tech, still the only team in Division I that has not been scored. Has not trailed in any game this year. And some other stuff. Cincinnati played really well yesterday. The Big 12's open, wide open. The ACC behind Miami is wide open. The SEC is going to cannibalize each other. Ohio State would appear to be the cream of the crop in the Big Ten, because I'm sorry, Paul Spada, Boston Paul in Wisconsin. I'm not sure how good Oregon is now after watching Penn State yesterday. Just going to throw that out there. I did pick them to win the Big Ten. But just lots of stuff to talk about in college football. Baseball, we got we're into the LDSs, and there was some conversation in the group, and we've had conversations about whether the bye is good for teams. And again, no results, because as has been historically accurate for the last 4 years, it's a 50-50 proposition. Right now, the 2 of the teams that had byes lost and 2 that didn't won. Or 2 that did won. Tigers with a big win in 11 innings yesterday. They got Scooble going today. Yankees with an awful loss. Listen, I'd rather lose that game 10-1 than lose in extra innings, say, like the Mariners did, and burn a bunch of pitchers. Yankees put it's just. But we got Fried going today. I'm very confident there. The Dodgers get behind 3-0. Ohtani gets rocked a little bit in the second inning, but pitches great other than that. So we can talk about all of that. Brewers with a big win. Weird move by Council pitching Matt Boyd, who's not, Cy Young, on short rest. He lasted 30 pitches and 6 runs. That game's on Craig Counsell. Sorry. We'll look at the game 2 pitchers and matchups. I think we've got 3 of the games matchups in there. Vlad keeps killing the Yankees. He hadn't hit a home run in a month. He hits a bomb in the first inning. Heel just didn't pitch well. What else we have? Skip Schoolmaker. What's Schoolmaker? Shoemaker. Schumacher. Skip Schumacher is the new Rangers manager. Still 8 spots to fill, guys. 9 managerial changes between in season and after the season. And we can talk more about that. Anything you want to talk about, it's all up to you. Again, in the NFL, we got some big games this week. We'll make our picks. By the way, there was a stat that Jeremy had put up in the big football show, so I'm stealing this from 18 blocked field goals so far this year. That's 16% of all the field goals, the most since 1993, highest percentage since 1993. Rick Sherlock talks about that all the time. We can talk about that. The Giants get a lift last week from Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo, who's going to get to play because of injuries. This is going to be I think, a find for the Giants. I think they fell into him. I think they drafted him in the 4th round, if I'm not mistaken. But we can talk about that and anything else you want to talk about in the world of sports. Bring it, boys. And we're here at about 10:45 today. As a reminder, CA, good morning. Good to have you with us down there in the Southwest. Good morning, JB. Back at a binge podcast. Check out JB stuff on YouTube. Does some good interviews. You got anything coming up, buddy? Michael Dighton Edwards, good morning to you. Michael's going to have a new article coming out, and I believe it's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, about the ridiculousness of preseason and even early season polls. I mean, now they're starting to become relevant after 4 or 5 weeks. But we won't have a playoff pool until I think first week in November, maybe. So, I mean, Texas and Penn State were 1 and 2. All you need to know. I wonder if Penn State can stay in the top 25 this week, quite frankly. That is one of the worst losses 40 years since the top 10 team has lost to an 0-4 team. Hello, Paul Spada. How are you, my friend? Out in Wisconsin. Sports Innovators and Danny Fuller are also a supporter and true friend of TGI Sports Talks family. 100%. 100%. Jack is interesting. It's too funny. Jack will make a point, and then he'll give you all the things to defend your argument instead of his, actually, if you notice. Jack just can't get over Daniel Jones is playing good football. I had said while he was with the Giants, and I'm no Giant fan, that if he got out of New York, he might be able to be a reclamation project and be a serviceable NFL quarterback. He's played really good football for 4 weeks. Jack wants to use his history against him. The worst thing ever to happen to Daniel Jones was getting picked 6 when he should have been a 2nd or 3rd round draft pick. As a lot of guys should be. I mean, Jack thinks, I love the guy now that he's on my team. I hated him in Georgia. Sorry, Rick. Carson Beck will be the first pick of the draft. No, he won't. And if these teams were smart, they wouldn't take any of these quarterbacks coming out this year in a top 10 or top 20 or maybe the 1st round. You blow your team up when you make a mistake. New episode dropping Tuesday for JB. Former Flyer great Brian Propp. Nice get. I recommend his book, Angel on My Wing. Any book recommendations? Sports books? I just finished. I've read a lot. I read a book recently about the 75 Red Sox. And actually, The Last of the Innocents I read is a really good book. It's about the Dodgers 1960s team. It's really good. And outside of that, I am reading After Dallas, which is historical fiction about the aftermath of JFK's assassination from a fictional standpoint, and it's very, very interesting. Michael loves Tuesday at 6 p.m. for the college football. Okay. You see, the reason I bundled shows together, and it does help me because I don't have to rush off to after the unprofessional professional show at 6. Plus, I could be done at 7 instead of 7 both nights instead of 8. But I was trying to avoid being on that many nights. But I think we might be making a switch permanently. I'm going to talk to my wife and see if there's any reason I shouldn't. Good morning, Rick. How are you, buddy? Something hit me with all the football I watch. Players hurdling and embarrassing the defender. If you go high, it's targeting. If you aim for the hit zone, they jump over you. That's kind of a good point. But again, I have a lot of problems with the targeting rule in general. I mean, there are times where it's obvious guys launch and they're trying to inflict injury. There are other times that a player lowers his head outside of hurdling. That's not a bad point at all, Rick. But what about when the offensive player lowers his crown? You don't see that get called, or rarely do. So, again, it's tough to be a defender in football today. Can't legislate violence out of the game. It's a violent game. That's why people watch. Oregon's not any less or better because Penn State pooped the bed. But, well, I disagree, Michael. I mean, again, they either beat a very good football team or they didn't. So, again, if you didn't beat a really good team and you blew a 14-point lead and had to win in overtime, are you the second best team in the country? Not that it necessarily matters. Miami, I think, is going to jump them this week. Actually, maybe they won't. After that fourth quarter performance and 14 freaking penalties, I'm not sure Miami does jump them. But it doesn't matter anyway. But again, you can only judge teams by the teams they play. I mean, think about Georgia. Or not Georgia. LSU. LSU, we thought was a really good team because they had beaten Clemson early in the year. Clemson turned out to be awful. LSU turns out not to be as good as we think. So to your point, I don't know whether they're better or worse. The schedule and the record will determine that. And before, Paul, you get all upset, I picked them to win the Big Ten. I still like them to win the Big Ten. Right now, Ohio State's the best team in the Big Ten. You got a tough test next week with Indiana coming into Oregon. Win that game. So now I'm giving you again another challenge. Beat Indiana at home, and I'll withdraw my remarks. Franklin didn't prepare his team to bounce back, and that is entirely on the coaching staff. 100%. And by the way, he sat there and did everything. Well, he did blame himself. He didn't really blame himself. In my mind, even when he talked about preparation, he was putting it on the players. And he talked about the travel, and he talked about this, and he talked about that. How about just saying, we suck today, I suck today, we sucked all week getting prepared for this game, and we didn't deserve the win. You just lost to one of the worst teams in the country. They're ranked like 100 out of 131 teams, or 136 teams. No excuse. So again, Paul ought to be ripping me here in a second. Council's not been worth what the Cubs paid him to steal him away from the Brewers for Chicago to screw David Ross. Yeah, David Ross is going to be in play for the Braves job, and he might be better off there than in Chicago anyway. I would take Pat Murphy 10 over 10 days over Council and no. I'm not taking Craig Counsell. For a lot of years was one of my favorite managers. What he did to the Brewers, because he talked about the fact that he didn't know if he wanted to manage anymore. And then the Mets were throwing a bunch of money at him, and the Cubs threw a bunch of money at him, and things changed. And quite frankly, the Brewers are better off without him because it's gotten stale there, man. He had some really good teams that had no playoff success. Very little. And Pat Murphy might very well win his second consecutive Manager of the Year award, which doesn't really happen. I think David Ross gets a job, by the way, and he did get screwed, by the way. I don't know how managers, and I got another comment about managers and firings this year in a second. because I have a problem with this. It happened to Aaron Boone, and I ripped him, and I got to rip Mendoza because of it as well in a second. David Ross was interviewed for a few jobs last year. I think he was a finalist in Houston. I know he interviewed in California. He's going to get a job in this go-round, I believe. One of these 8 teams is going to hire David Ross, and Braves look like a very good possibility. While we're talking about managers getting fired, how about managers keeping their jobs but letting their entire coaching staffs basically get fired? I ripped the crap out of Aaron Rodgers 4 years ago, maybe, when he was on the ropes. And he basically kept his job when the Yankee brass told him, you fire Phil Nevin, who's his best friend in baseball, and 4 other Yankee coaches. And instead of saying, take your job and stuff it and sticking behind his friends and people he hired, he said, okay. Well, Mendoza's now done the same thing for the Mets. And I don't have respect for these guys. I think that's probably when, Aaron Boone absolutely jumped the shark for me. When you stand behind the people you hired, but you keep your job making millions of dollars a year. I feel the same about Mendoza now. That's the lack of class. Stand by your principles. You got plenty of freaking money, man. 2 years in that job is, generational wealth. Franken should have taken accountability over making excuses. Great take, love it. It was his first, unless the press conference was edited, which I'm sure it was, his very first comments talked about everything except the play on the field, which is all that mattered. The travel, the tough game last week. Knock it off. Jeremy, I stole your block kick stat if you weren't here. So I did give you credit, though. It's a good one. I have a few comments on this, too. Empire Alex Tosi missed 23 calls in the game one of the Tiger series. He had a correct call rate of only 86.3. Of the 2,400 games this year, only 26 had a lower call rate. We did the call, but where'd the calls go? I mean, are we saying we're just saying the umpires are bad, right? And I want to be, I don't want to rip umpires, because I know that my good friend Dale Scott, who I've had on the show and interviewed, and I know in one of the groups in Greg Rawlings' group, I think he left because of all the ripping of Angel Hernandez and some other umpires in that group. There's tons of former players and former umpires in Greg Rawlings' America's Pastime, the Love for Baseball group. And Dale was upset about the way his entire profession was being portrayed. And I said, you shouldn't let a couple, you need to speak out against, I think you need to speak out against, if guys are bad and giving you all a bad name, well, then you should speak out. And this guy should be held accountable. I heard the same crying about the calls in the Padre Cubs series, especially the last game, especially the last inning. Well, the Cubs went 3 for 36 with runners in scoring position. That played more into them losing that series than any ball or strike call, I can tell you right now. I don't like automation in baseball. I don't like AI in general. This is an AI, but well, I guess it is. How do we know they are? How do we know how accurate they are? But that said, the umpires have brought this on themselves. It's going to happen. I've tried to make arguments against it. I don't have an argument against it anymore. Based on what Jeremy's brought up here, what Danny Fuller's brought up on this show and others, I don't want robo umpires. Next year with the ABS system, that's the first step. Pretty soon, what are you going to need a home plate umpire for? You won't need them for anything. I don't want that. I like the human element in baseball. I don't care about human error. But when you're this bad, how am I supposed to defend you? And it's not one guy. For years growing up, I heard, well, that's his strike zone. No, there's one strike zone. Umpires would say, that's my strike zone is, I'm a little high, I'm a little low, I'm a little whatever. I give the pitcher, but for years, pitchers would get calls. How do you think Greg Maddux would fare once we have ABS? Seriously, it actually just popped into my head. How does a guy like Greg Maddux, who lived on the corners, and I guarantee you they weren't all strikes. I think he's still a goddamn good pitcher. What did I see? What is the crazy stat about Greg Maddux in his whole career? He only had I could have this wrong. I feel like he went 3-2 on like a handful of players in his entire career. There's also a funny meme about Greg Maddux where he's shown the house he painted, and it's all unpainted in the middle and all painted around the corners. It's very funny, the edges of the house. I'm just not a fan of this whole ABS system and robo umpires. But again, my argument is I can't sit here and argue against it when we see numbers like this. But at the same time, Padre fans, you chasing the umpires, or Padre players, you chasing the umpires off the field and berating them when you went 3 for 36 with runners in scoring position. Blame yourselves. Watch James Franklin's press conference, Padre players. That's you. No, I'm on a rant today, aren't I? No respect for manager firing his friend's confidence to cover his or own butt. None. I agree 100%. I said it with Aaron Boone. I say it with Mendoza. I have to be correct. And technically, Michael, he'll be able to say, I didn't fire them. The team did. But basically, you're being told if you can stay, but they're going, I think you should back up your friends. This isn't the real world. So don't tell me, would you have quit your job if one person got fired? 2 people got fired. It might depend on who they were. I don't know. Listen, I'm a big believer in life that a lot of people like to say, I would never do so-and-so. Well, guess what? Nobody knows what they would do in whatever situation. A person getting fired, a car accident where people's lives are in danger. Whatever nobody knows. I know what I'd like to do in every situation, but until you're in that situation, nobody knows what they'll do. And you can say you do know, but you don't know. So, I don't know what I would do if I was making millions of dollars and keeping my job. I'd like to think I would quit in solidarity for the people that worked for me and I brought into this organization. I think 2 coaches all kept their jobs. Everyone predicted the Tigers couldn't win last night. A great win for the Tigers, by the way. 11 innings, 15 pitchers pitch in this game. And by the way, they might want to start. I was talking to Brian about this before we went on the air this morning on the Big Football Show. The Mariners might, when Kirby's on the mound again, maybe you just walk. Who was it? Carpenter? Crap. Now I don't remember who am I talking about? Bear with me 1 second while I remember this. Who said it was a Kerry Carpenter? Where is he? I got the wrong game again. Jesus. Who's the guy on the Tigers that Kirby just can't get out? Yeah, Carpenter. Home run. He's 5 for 9 in his career with 5 home runs. You might want to think about walking him like every time. Bases loaded, walk him. Nobody on, walk him. But the Tigers played well, and they got Scuba going today. It's today or tomorrow? It's today, I think, right? I think the American League both play today, National League tomorrow. Yankees and Toronto at 4:08. Max Fried against Trey Yesevich, but what I'm very confident. All I wanted to come out of this was with a split. Yesterday's loss for the Yankees is not that bad. It looks bad, but it's not bad. They got Max Fried going today, and if they don't win today with Max Fried, then they don't deserve to win this series. They weren't going to win this series if they didn't win the games Max Fried started anyway. But the Tigers have Scoble going with a one-game advantage. It could come. They need to come out of there 2-0. I think it'd be a huge, an emotional blow if they lose this game with Scoble today. Perfect breakdown of Mendoza. No integrity, no class. Sorry. Angel Hernandez had 26 games with lower call rate before he retired. I'm not saying he was any good, by the way. Good morning, Danny. All in for the Roborumps is challenged for balls and strikes. I know everybody is but me, I think. But I don't have an argument anymore. I mean, I come in here and I want to argue my good friend Danny Fuller about this, because he's very passionate about it. Obviously, Jeremy is. But I don't have an argument anymore. If you're not going to hold your umpires accountable and make them better, because this is not good, I can't defend you. So JB's all in for the umps as a challenge for balls and strikes. Just get rid of the strike zone box. Takes away most of the doubt by the fan. That's a great point. Because, by the way, here's the thing, though, Jeremy or JB, if you take it away now that you go to the challenge, they're going to wonder whether the calls are right or not. And by the way, that's TV tracer, right? I don't know how accurate that thing is. I have no idea. Good call, Keith. It's time, though. Greg Maddux took what they gave him. Agreed. No, I agree. I mean, at that time, you could throw, an inch off the plate and it'd be a strike. And that guy had the best control of any freaking guy I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, by the end of his career, he never threw really hard. But by the end of his career, he couldn't break a pane of glass. Padres players equal despicable. Just, that was a bad scene. You don't do that. You don't do that. You got here at the correct time. What time was that? 9? 6 your time. I moved the show to 9 just for you because you'll get that extra 30 minutes sleep, Danny. Actually, I didn't. It's harder for me, but I wanted to be on, they asked me to be on the big football show for a full hour in the morning, and I did acquiesce. So during football season, we'll have to go to 10:45 most weeks. We got some vacation coming up in November. We'll do this show from the ship. The only day I might have trouble is the day we're traveling home. We're gone 3 Sundays. The first 2 I will do this show at least, and we'll see about the other shows as we go on while I'm off. But we'll definitely do this show on Sunday mornings. It's just that last Sunday, which I think is like the 23rd of November. Might be hard because I'm not sure. I may be en route to the airport. So maybe I'll do a show when I get home that afternoon. We're home by 1:30 in the afternoon or something like that. Maybe we'll do a show during a football. We'll do some live football. Exactly. Until you're in a boiling pot, you don't know how you're going to react unless you're a lobster. Well, this is true. I don't know, but lobsters don't know how they're going to react till they get in the water, do they? I'm not a lobster fan. Do they really scream? Kerry Carpenter's been pretty solid since he came back from injury midseason. The Tigers are scrappy. They are scrappy, and they might have just got their mojo back against the Indians. I had my doubts they'd win that series. But a good job there and a good job in game 1. That's such a huge win when you know you've got the best pitcher in maybe in baseball. going the next game, and you can eke out that win in extra innings, that's huge because you come out of there with a sweep or a split, you're going to be happy. Now my guess is they're going to be disappointed if they don't come out of there with a sweep. With 2-0 lead, you know. What you got here, CA? I don't know what's the flag? We got football, we got popcorn, we got 100% love. What's that flag? Yanks have to win today, no question, without a doubt. I do not think. Well, then because then they'd have to win. Well, they'd have to get back to Seattle. They got to force Game 5, and you know we're going to get Rondon and Cam Schlittler after that. Cam was just electric in the rubber game with the Boston, but I don't know that we can expect that type of performance out of this kid forever. By the way, the Yankees, I started to say this. Yes. What's his name? Yes, Grave. For the Blue Jays today. Yes, Grave goes. He's pitched 14 innings this season. A little surprising that they're going to throw a start. Him. Some injuries have caused this, obviously, and lack of production from some other guys. But we've seen some guys with very limited action. I mean, Cam Schlittler has had quite a bit of action compared to some of these guys. Early, who pitched for the Red Sox, had very little experience. The Indians were playing a kid in center field who hadn't played all year. He played in AAA. A lot of interesting stuff in these playoffs. Hello, Chris. By the way, Chris, you should put that other comment up again today about the Mafia, the Bills Mafia. I'd love to comment on that because that'll set me off on another tirade, right? A former Yankee Blue Jay, Ruben Sierra. Feel free to play that voice message. Now, let's see what we got here. You sent me a voice message you did this morning? I got a voice message from Danny, too, last night about the bad beat Vanderbilt got. And I really believe that they ran that ball because of Pavia running his mouth before the game. Where is it? Which one was it?
So, Keith, I hear the Pope got shot. Okay.
That's not the one.
Big time. Try it again without the base button. Okay, I'll give it a shot.
I don't have a voice. I don't have a Ruben Sierra voice message, I don't think, Chris. But not surprising, Paul. I would think any self-respecting Red Sox fan would hate the Yankees as much as I despise the Red Sox. But I'll tell you this about the Red Sox. I respect good, and I do this with everybody. I hate teams, but players I can respect. I probably respected Yaz better more than the Red Sox fans did. I don't know. But I still hate the Red Sox. Good mornings to Danny from Michael. Morning all. Great stuff. Hi, y'all. Please check out Jeremy Ballrick's stuff. There you go. Check out Jeremy. I should have given Jeremy a shout out. Sorry about that, Jeremy. I stole your stat this morning and then I didn't give you a shout out. Thank you for putting that up there. Any of you guys who do, Jeremy, you know this too. JB, you want to put up a link in the comments? We'll certainly share it and give you guys a proper props. And if you send me your shows, I'm happy to share them on TGI Sports Talk as well. If you send me a link or a reminder just to go share it or whatever, I'll be happy to do that. Send me a link. It's easier because then I can just post it. He pitched 14 innings, so there's not a huge sample size there. But Yankees, by the way, Yankees also historically have struggled against pitchers they haven't seen before. So that comes into play as well. Thank you, Paul. We love you too. Sorry about those Oregon comments earlier. Cam, you missed a couple of T's in there. I hope you got the L in the right place. Yes, you did. You missed a T, though. Cam Schleter, Walpole. Oh, really? Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, very good point. He did grow up a Red Sox fan. So, and he took a little bit of abuse, I think, from Red Sox fans after the game. Hello, Matt. Good to have you with us. Our Yankee fan out in Orange County, California. Charger fan as well. Sorry about that loss to the Giants. You know, the Giants, Jackson Dart's numbers weren't tremendous last week, but the energy level of the team was palpable. In the stadium, it was palpable. And Cam Scatterbo playing full-time basically at halfback is a huge, I think, energy boost for this team. Now, the question is going to be whether the offensive line can do anything to keep these guys upright. And they lose Malik Neighbors for the season, and that's a huge loss for this team. And I'm not sure that they can recover. I think they lose to the Saints today. But I like what I see. I did figure that out. Thank you, Paul. I know where Walpole is. I drove through it as fast as I could one time. Yeah, I think there's no doubt Diego cost Keith some money yesterday with his pregame comments where he said, "I don't think the game will even be close. I think Kalen DeBoer decided, and I don't have a problem with it. So, you know, it is what it is. You reap what you sow, right? And he gives them bulletin board material, and with 17 seconds left, instead of kneeling on the ball, they ran it for a touchdown. No, I don't think the games are fixed. Bad beat for Keith. Do I think the games are fixed? No. Because you know what? If I did, none of this would go on the games. I almost got a bad beat at the end of that Miami-Florida State game. If you were watching it, I don't know, you guys had bugged out of the chat. You might have gone to bed and thought this game was over, but they were down 2 scores, Florida State, but they had a breakaway late in the fourth quarter with like a minute left, and fortunately they got the receiver down, 15-yard line. And they smartly, it's the right football play, they kicked the field goal and then tried the onside kick because they needed 2 scores. So I dodged a freaking bullet there because I thought he was going all the way on that catch. 2 bad beats like that in 1 week, one day, I might have been you might have had to send a wellness check to the house. Let's go New York Chargers. No, New York Yankees, Chargers, and Cowboys. Wait a minute. How do you root for the Chargers and the Cowboys? Another guy with 2 teams, Matt? Come on, dude. I'm still looking for something to do with all these great cards Matt sent me, by the way. There's a great one of my here. I love this one of Bobby Mercer, by the way. I'm a big Bobby Mercer guy. I've chatted with his wife, Kay, on Facebook a few times, and I remember I wrote her a long message the first time I ever chatted with her about what Bobby meant to me when I was a kid and how devastated I was when he died because he'd been part of my life, my entire life. Watching him play ball or listening to him do games. And it was sad, but she's a good person. I love Bobby. Okay, good. Except for, where's the butt? It reminds me a little bit of, I can't remember the movie. I think I brought this up a couple weeks ago, right? Michael Caine's in a movie. It might have been Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I don't know. He's talking about he hates any lumping in of people of certain religions or from certain countries or of certain colors or creeds. I hate it when people do that. You should have respect for everybody except the Dutch. Don't ask me why I remember that line. I have no idea. Soundball players who have been charming on camera: Paul O'Neill's Seinfeld, and Reggie Jackson and Naked Gun. Paul O'Neill was very. I'm thinking. I don't remember. Am I remembering Paul O'Neill and Seinfeld? I remember Keith Hernandez. Keith Hernandez was very funny. They did if you remember, they did a spoof on the JFK assassination, where Keith Hernandez got spit on, and it was like a second spitter. It was a funny episode, but he was dating Elaine for a little bit. I don't remember Paul O'Neill. Reggie, I wouldn't say it was great acting, but it was very interesting. That was a very, very funny movie, Naked Gun, and I haven't seen the new one with Liam Neeson, and I don't think I'm going to because I can't see anybody as Frank Drebin except Leslie Nielsen. I can't do it. You're going to find out. Listen, Oregon, everybody who's out here, and including me, who's concerned about where their team's rated or what people say about them. Listen, Dan Lanning's a great coach. Oregon appears to have a really good team. Dante Moore, I would say right now, is a leader for the Heisman. Ty Simpson, who I've ripped, and I have to take a step back. This kid didn't throw an interception until last night. He's thrown now, I don't know, 17 or 18 touchdowns and 1 interception. He's moving into the Heisman conversation. I thought Pavia would, but he's spit the bit yesterday. Goodbye. Carson Beck has moved up that as well. But for my money right now, Dante Moore is probably the leader in the clubhouse. And the anti-Heisman awards have got to go to Drew Allar and Cade Klubnik, who played well yesterday against a horrendous North Carolina team. They played 3 Power 4 teams this year, and they've gotten beat by at least 25, and I think a total of 100, over 100 in those 3 games. They're horrible. They don't have a clue. Belichick looks like he doesn't have a clue. I thought this would go badly, and it has. And what's happened now is, while he left himself an escape hatch for the NFL, who's going to want him off this performance? How can you not respect DiMaggio and all the great Yankee players? 100%. My numbers aren't tremendous, but as long as I perform, go to work, and do the laundry, my wife is happy. Giants fans will love Dart. I agree. I like Jackson Dart coming out of college. He's got something, right? Numbers again aren't everything. Leadership is, and I think Jackson Dart, especially as for a rookie, really carries himself very well, and I think that will project very well for the Giants in the future, assuming they don't screw up the rest of this team. And by the way, best wishes to John Mara, who revealed this past week that he is battling cancer, and we do wish John Mara speedy and full recovery for sure. And real quick, we want to give our condolences to the family of Lawrence Moten, who passed away unexpectedly this week at 53 years old. If you don't know who Lawrence Moten is, one of the greatest players in Syracuse Orangeman history. He's an all-time leading scorer there and led some very good Syracuse teams. So our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. And just too bad. 53, so young. The older I get, and I see people die when they're 80, and I go, that's too young. That's 15 years from now. No. Much less 53. So our thoughts and prayers go out there. Scat was a steal in the 4th round. I agree. I said it then. I didn't expect him to be a first rounder. Third, 4th round is where I expected him to go. But I also felt very strongly knew is too strong a word, I think. I felt very strongly that whoever got him was going to have a productive player. This guy's not running for 1,500 yards, but he's going to be a really productive player for this Giant team when they get better. Dart's play was perfect for him, and the Giants reminded me of Brady's first Super Bowl. Play with own your own means. That's a great point, Danny. If you remember, Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady when he first started playing. He managed games. His numbers in his rookie year were not great. His numbers in that Super Bowl, he probably shouldn't have been the MVP, other than the fact that he led them to the game-winning field goals when he did it. He was like 12 for 20 or 21. That wasn't a great offense, but they just were efficient. All they did was, certain guys, David Gibbons would catch first downs right and left. David Patton catches a touchdown pass. Now, not saying he'll ever be Tom Brady, but I like the way Dart carries himself. That's important for my quarterback. I was never a big fan of Eli because I didn't like the way Eli carried himself on the field. He didn't feel like he was a leader. Now, look he won 2 Super Bowls. Where Eli stands in the pantheon of great quarterbacks to me is a bit debatable. And I didn't like the way he carried himself. There's some quarterbacks that are like that. They don't seem to exude leadership. Jackson Dart feels like a leader. It's a mess. Once England gave Ireland and Scotland independence, the UK. Did I miss a comment here? What the heck? See, did I miss another comment here? Is this for another show? I got. Sorry, guys. Anyway, let me hear. It's a mess. Once England gave Ireland and Scotland independence, the UK is historically and just like as well should represent each nation. Oh, the flag. I see. The flags. See, I have trouble reading emojis. I have trouble reading. Good stuff, though. My ladies' team. So you don't have to root for your wife's team. Your wife should root for your team. I married my wife because she was a Patriot fan. That's it. Only reason. I'm kidding. Just happened to be that way. We probably would not have got together, quite frankly, if she wasn't a Patriot fan. One of the things that brought us together. When was the last American-born undrafted free agent in baseball? Oh, there's got to be a few, doesn't there? Kevin Moss is a long time ago. Boy, you talk about, 15 minutes of fame. American-born undrafted. I want you to bring up that Bills Mafia comment again. I'm never going to find it. Well, we'll do this. Remind me of that. We'll look into that maybe on the MLB update one day. File that question, Chris. We're going to have to do some research. The Bruins won a game. They didn't just win a game. They beat the number 7 team in the country, which is the first time an 0-4 team has done that in 40 years. Penn State. Preseason polls, right, Michael? Since everyone keeps bringing up Ruben Sierra, his salsa. Who's him? Just to be clear, you're everyone, and I'm responding to you. His salsa album is #1, is on YouTube. I read #1. His son, aptly named Ruben Sierra Jr., had a minor league pro career. Yes, he did. Maybe Ruben will be the halftime show at the Super Bowl this year, depending on how Bad Bunny goes. Who the frick is Bad Bunny? Am I that old that I have no clue who Bad Bunny is? I asked Alexa to play Bad Bunny, #1 hit. And I didn't understand a word of it. I'm not trying to be a jerk here, or, I don't have a problem with, I think he's Puerto Rican, right? I don't have a problem with Latinos. I don't have a problem with their music, but it's not salsa. I don't know if it's like Spanish rap, but maybe it's just me, and I'm an old fuddy-duddy, I guess, but I want to know this. How can country music be like the #1 music genre today? I don't think it's hard. Well, maybe it's an overstatement, but I don't feel like it is. But we don't have one country artist that I can think of, at least not in the last 25 years. So I know why. Exactly why. I asked the question, but it's redundant, or not redundant, it's rhetorical, because they're not looking to appeal to me or any of you guys, most likely. They're looking to appeal to a younger demographic and people who wouldn't normally watch the game. I was never the biggest Reggie fan, quite frankly. Reggie caused a lot of problems that didn't need to happen. Reggie came through in the clutch, obviously, in 77 and 78 both. Reggie was a very good player. Reggie wasn't a great player, and Reggie was probably even a worse person. And he caused a lot of problems here that didn't need to be caused. But they won 2 world championships, so it's all worth it. As well, I'll chime in, enjoy the show. Be it known, Kevin Mitchell's with us this morning. Where are you, Kevin? Chime in here, buddy. One of my favorite interviews of all time. I got him right off the golf course one day when we were doing it. Had an interview scheduled with him. Love my interview with Kevin. If you're here, chime in, buddy. Leadership from quarterback. That's why I won't give up on J.J. McCarthy. He's a leader. I don't disagree with that at all. He may not pan out, but the dude is indeed a leader. Again, just because you're a leader doesn't mean you're going to make it in the NFL leader. I'm not saying that. I had this argument forever with the Mad New Yorker, Carlos, when we did our show together. And even when he was commenting on this show. And if you're there, Carlos, feel free to chime in. He didn't feel it was necessary for your quarterback to be the leader of the team. Well, he needs to be the leader of the offense, if not the leader of the team. And if you don't lead, you follow. And you can't have a follower being your quarterback. Chelsea 2-1 over Liverpool yesterday in EPL. Thanks, EA, for the open window to throw that in. Oh, the flag. Good one. Chris F. Grave is here. He's up in Ontario. You're asking, where is he? He's here. If you're asking, where is he physically? I thought you knew he was in Toronto. Aren't you guys buddies, or was it just him and Danny that were buddies? I don't know. There's an interesting dynamic that has come in since you guys joined the group. Michael, most recently, Paul and Danny and Chris, I don't know, a year and a half ago, something like that. You guys might remember better than me. Time is a very, very elusive thing for me. But you guys have been a great addition to this show, and I really appreciate it. In our group chat. But I thought Paul and Chris and Danny all knew each other too. And maybe just Danny knows Chris and Danny knows Paul. I don't know. But I will tell you that he is in the room now commenting, and he's also in Ontario someplace. I think it's top secret. Browns up 7-0. I didn't turn the game on. Where are they? Hold on. Is it on NFL Network? Is that where it is? Sorry, I had the news on this morning while I was getting ready for the show. There it is. I picked the Vikings in this game only because I can't pick the Browns to win. I'm not a big Dylan Gabriel fan. It'll be interesting to see how he plays here today. I'm not going to see a lot of this game being as I'm doing the show. And here's a nice first down play for the Vikings. And then I got to travel to go watch the 1 o'clock games. Oh, I didn't know the energy I was going on right now. What? I didn't know. Oh, wait. Danny means the Bruins in college football. I wouldn't even thought because, you know, they don't win that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I didn't know the energy I was going on right now. Oh, wait. Danny means the Bruins in college football. I don't know. Maybe Danny's got comments I'm not seeing, but I think I'm seeing them all. If I miss something, if I'm missing something, tell me. Wentz keeps getting contracts. I just don't see how. He did have a pretty good year in Indianapolis like 3 years ago. But he is very immobile. And there's a first down. He's very immobile. And listen, I wish he'd played. If he hadn't gotten hurt in Philadelphia, we may not have lost that Super Bowl. And there'd be no statue to Nick Foles outside the Philly Stadium. In safety standards, it's still safe to ride with one hand on the back of the garbage truck. Lucky Charms Leprechaun is still not offending the Irish community, the Bills Mafia. We still not offensive. Well, that should be. Right? No, and I say that facetiously. I do not think it's offensive. But if I'm going to be offended by, the Redskins logo, where are all the uppity, guilty white people who are not? Why are they not getting up in arms that the Bills Mafia is offensive? I mean, we had to change the leprechaun to basically the Lucky Charms Leprechaun. We can't have the fists up anymore because it's, that's a bad stereotype for the Irish. I mean, there's a touchdown, by the way, and that worked out pretty good for Carson. Browns are no good. This whole thing, when are we going to stop this whole offensive thing? I'm offended by everything, man. Where was Pocahontas last night talking about the Seminoles doing the tomahawk chop the whole freaking game? I don't care about stuff like that. Why should anybody? And again, when I see a whole cluster of Native Americans coming forward and saying, stop that, well, then I'll understand. But they aren't. Their culture is trying to be wiped out by a bunch of people, and the people who try to keep it alive, they're being lambasted for it. Nonsense. What's the new 6-7? I just found out really nothing. It's just something the kids laugh at. What's the new 6-7? I have no idea. I laugh at it because I don't know what I'm talking about. What is it? It means nothing. It's just why do the kids laugh at it then? I think we went through this once before, didn't we? And I have no memory. Bad Bunny is more of a generational phenomenon, in Michael's opinion. He's a bad choice. The Brazilian. Oh, he's Brazilian. I thought he was Puerto Rican only because I think he just finished like the longest residency ever in Puerto Rico. Crystal did that. Did the halftime of the opening Friday night game this year would have been I don't know who that is either. And again, I understand they're not going to program the halftime show for me or my demographic. It's just not going to happen. Old white guys, they don't care about. They got all my money. Here's the funny part, and I never understand. Us older guys, or even middle-aged guys, we're the ones with all the money, and women. Sorry, I don't want to come off as a misogynist here. I did last night somehow. My wife called me out on something I said. I don't remember what it was. Something to do with women in sports. I don't know. I don't know how I get myself back into these corners. But we got all the money, but advertisers never seem to advertise for me. The NFL never seems to point their halftime shows or promotional events towards me or my age. I don't mean old white guys, right? I mean middle age and above people of all races and creeds and religions. We got the money. I gotta shut up or I get myself in more trouble. I don't know who Crystal is either, by the way. Kevin Mitchell was a beast for sure. He pops in our show every now and again. Like, I don't know if he's popped in since you've been on, but I interviewed him. If you go back, if you go to TGI Sports Talk and you go to the videos, the video section, I think you gotta hit drop down now to videos. You'll see all the shows. I think they stay. And if you scroll back, unless they've cleaned them all out, and I haven't looked in a while, all the interviews I did years ago when I was doing tons of interviews, you can find them all. You got to scroll quite a ways back now because now we're getting to be, heading into our 6th year. And Kevin Mitchell's is there. It was a lot of fun doing it. Chuck Foreman was a great interview. I had a few good men moment with Chuck Foreman. It was awesome. Rick loved that. Rick is always busting my chops to get, and Chris F. Grave to do more interviews. And I'm finding it hard to find the motivation to do it. Maybe I will. I'm a month, 5 weeks now into retirement, and as I get settled into a routine, we'll do something. I'm probably not going to do them live if I do them, and I'm probably going to do one a month or something. But I got a few conversations going on with a few people that might turn into interviews, and we'll see. I liked him because he caused crap for New York. Talking about Reggie. That's a good reason. Danny, not a Reggie fan himself, but Sankey's probably don't win a World Series without him and his big, I believe that is ass. I'll say it, sticking out. You can say ass on this show. Scarlett, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I see Jake up there, so hopefully Tom Dobney's out there. Don't be afraid to, if you're still there, Tom, don't be afraid to chime in. The leader of our HOA here in our community, Tom Dobney. Tom, we got to play some golf, buddy. And if you're retired now, congratulations, and I hope you're still here listening. And don't be afraid to comment if you got something to bring to the table, which obviously we don't worry about what it is. Amazing the jewelry they allow in football today. It's funny. See, I don't even notice it anymore because it's so commonplace. I'm looking now at who is this? Is that Dylan? That's not Dylan Gabriel, is it? No. It's some receiver for the Browns. Would you be afraid of just having it ripped off your neck? Chris Fgrave is the man with the voice. Voices, correct, Danny, and the super thoughtful man, no doubt. I love Chris's stuff. He'll send me some messages. I listened to just a couple yesterday that he sent me. Danny sent me a voice message, which you can do on Facebook. Feel free to do that if you want to get a comment in. Danny sent me a nice message about the bad beat on Vanderbilt yesterday. Oh, God, that was awful. That was painful. And I really thought I was watching an instant replay of it last night with Miami, Florida State. Would have made for a disastrous shutout yesterday. Trying to get into the black ink here. Well, I can have up to 10 people in this thing, but I think it would get a little. We can try to do something. It's hard to, and some people don't want to come in. Paul, remember, on my, I was doing a once a month Friday show where I made it, everybody could come in. And we didn't have many. I don't think you can. Maybe you came in once. But we could do a roundtable thing some night and see how it goes. It gets hard, by the way, with 10 people. It's even hard with 4 people. I mean, you see how 2 people when Jack is in the room. Going to start working the mute button for Jack. Stanford started the trend from Indians to Cardinal tree. Was that the first one? How can a tree be your mascot? Seriously. And the way we're going in this country, probably patriots are going to be targeted next because we can't be patriots. It's offensive to people who think, I don't know what they think. So, oh my God. Seriously, is there, and school districts, at least here, Danny, I don't know if they're doing it in your area, but every school district here has gone and changed their names proactively just so nobody will be protesting them. Again, the the well-to-do and empathetic white folks start every freaking problem. Ray Emery. I'm going to guess he's a hockey player. The guy I first thought of was a Bears wide receiver, but I don't think that's who it is. So give me some info on Ray Emery, Chris. 10:10. We got about 35 minutes left today. I just need to talk crap on Wentz to get him started, I guess. I didn't bet I don't know who I'm betting today, Danny. I don't know who I'm taking in a survivor pool. We got a survivor pool that's a $120,000 pool. 700 people were in total with the people that bought back. There's no more buybacks. It's 120,000 and change. And we're down to around 300 out of 700 left. Never won this one. Been in the final 40. Got the week 12 when you got to start picking 12 teams, and we went, 12 teams, 2 teams, and we went out. So Kevin Mitchell was fun. Did you see that? Did you go back and watch that, Danny? I had a lot of fun with a lot of interviews I did back then. It's just hard. It's so hard chasing these guys around, and I love getting them in the room, but it's a lot of fun. The only Bad Bunny I've ever seen was in the movie The Holy Grail. The Killer Rabbits, always dangerous for sure. CA, very great reference. Where's my sound effects? That's just a great reference right there. Well done, my friend. TD Brown's called back. What is it? 7-7 still. Fred Lynn, great player. Injuries wrecked his career. Loved Fred Lynn. Been trying to get an interview with him. Doesn't return my calls. Bill Lee would be a great interview. I don't think I've found a place to reach out to Bill. Pretty sure I haven't. I can't find, again, a lot of these guys you got to go through social media. There's no other way to get to them until I've had a few, like I got references from some guys that I interviewed. They would give me some guys' numbers. Daryl Cheney, who was a journeyman utility infielder for the Reds and the Braves. And great guy. One of the nicest people I've ever interviewed. He had given me a few guys to call, and I got a few guys from that. But most of them, you got to chase them around social media and hope they respond. And if they do, they don't, go dark on you afterwards. I had a lot of guys say, "Yep, let's do it," and then they go dark. I've had a lot of fun. It's just I don't know what I'm gonna do. Good morning, Brian. He says he missed Danny on the big football show this morning. Danny had to sleep in. He was up late last night. It was at least 8 o'clock his time when I went to bed. 8:30. Keith, you can have the ESPN group pick better college games for the pools than 10 games that are so random. They are awful, right? Our box bets have been the same way. I mean, Shannon, if you're watching, you do a great job. You work hard, but I got to have more than 9 games to pick from on a Saturday. All top 25 games. And I don't know how ESPN randomly does it. Next year, we can look for a different way to do it. Not doing something manually, though. If we have a place where we can generate our own games to pick from, or maybe CBS or Yahoo or somebody has, more or better games. How ESPN does it, I have no idea. I got to believe they just got a randomizer, and that's how they pick who's going to be part of the pool that week. Speaking of which, by the way, I got rid of my... Nobody had more than 6 again yesterday. I'm going to do my NFL picks here in a little bit. Hang on. Actually, it's another good story that I want. Gosh, are you kidding me? Sorry, Lacey. ESPN's being slow coming up, so. Paul and I in the same show, I don't think that would work. There's times I think the chat's going to get shut down with you two guys. Michael repeating his comment from earlier. Jack is interesting. Very, very interesting. I love Jack Hirsch to death. Nobody knows more about boxing than Jack Hirsch. Hall of Fame writer, boxing writer. The Hall of Fame is out here at Canastota, maybe New York. Rick, you might remember where it is. I think I'm right. Jack lives down in New York. He was a teacher in his full-time life, but has written many books. He's got a book he's trying to get published now, will be getting published now, autobiography of Michael Spinks, which I'm really looking forward to. But Jack has some interesting ideas on the rest of the world of sports. I will tell you, he's a smart guy. He knows a lot of stuff, and he goes back as far and further than I do. But he's got some very interesting ideas. Interesting is a very good way to describe Jack. Cardinal meant to signify prime, and the redwood is a symbol of strength and power. But that's just not as cool as the Indians. I agree. It's a giant Christmas tree. I know it's a redwood, but it looks like a Christmas tree to me. And I don't know that the Cardinal most years exemplify strength and power. Yes, many have changed their names here, Keith, but let boys transgender play in girl sports. I can't make it up, right? Pocahontas up here in Massachusetts, who's as much Indian as I am, American Indian, Native American as I am, or you are, all up in arms about everything in her brother, but boys playing in girls' sports, we're okay with that. That's what you're going to, and that's, by the way, that's the hill they want to die on, right? Transgender issues. Kids should be able to decide when they're 8 years old, what gender they want to be, and don't need to tell their parents. That's a thing here. Well, it was almost a thing here. That's okay. That's the hill these people want to die on. Then God bless you. That's why you won't be winning any elections. Well, in certain places in the country, anyway. Bad Bunny's done wrestling in the W. He wrestled or what? There was really I don't remember Hoodwinked. Might have to check it out. Bad Bunny has done wrestling. He wrestled or like played music? Goaltender for the Blackhawks, Ray Emery, passed at 35. 35? I didn't see this story. Thank you, Brian. That's sad. That's very sad. A lot of young hockey goaltenders had early untimely deaths, it seems. By the way, I don't think we notated it. Speaking of goaltenders, the passing of the great Bernie Parent here a couple of weeks ago, I think I missed that in my condolences, which I usually try to give for people that pass away in the sports world. And our thoughts and prayers go to Bernie Parent. Another guy I was chasing for an interview, and I had him this close. It's actually happened to me. I guess it's not funny, but it's making me laugh. I apologize. I've had about 5 guys when I was really doing interviews a lot that I was this close. We're ready to do them, and they tragically passed away. I think 4. 5 might be an exaggeration. So maybe you don't want to come on my show or negotiate with me to come on. Very sad. And one of our best guests ever, Mark Littell, the immortal Mark Littell, former relief pitcher with the Royals, he passed away unexpectedly. He was having a surgery, which was supposed to be minor surgery, about a year ago. Or last summer, maybe 2 summers ago, and died on the operating table. He had a cardiac situation while he was there, and that was the end. He was a great guest. I replayed that interview in his honor that time. And one of my early guests, too. You can see the difference, man. First few guests I had some good, fun guys to begin with. I think the first guy I did, I wanted an easy interview. I had Kevin Kernan, former New York Post writer, on. And we talked a lot of baseball. And Mike Vaccaro I had on early. I had a lot of writers on. Hank Gola. By the way, Hank Gola's got a great book called, hold on. I'm going to give Hank a little plug here. Hank Gola, former writer for the New York Daily News and a few others. Might have gone to the Post for a while. I wanted to give you the right. Let me just, oops. Yeah. Oh, come on. Can you stay there? Damn it. I can't keep the title up. Anyway, it's Ryder Cup Rivals. Will you stay there, please? Ryder Cup Rivals. Can't make that bigger. All right. Well, it's real. I'm about halfway through the book. It is awesome. If you like books about golf and the Ryder Cup specifically, this is the best book I've read, golf book I've read since A Good Walk Spoiled by John Feinstein years ago. You think I should interview Bill Parcells? That fat bastard. How do you think that would go? Hey, Bill, you remember that time I sat down next to you and you told us to get the F away from you? It was an open bar stool, Bill. I didn't accost you. I didn't ask you any awkward questions until you were a jerk. Saw him interviewed after he was put in the Patriots Hall of Fame, and he finally admitted he could have done things a little differently in 1996 when he wrecked the Super Bowl week for the Patriots. Instead of preparing to beat the Packers, he spent the week preparing and negotiating to be the next head coach of the Jets. I love Fred Lynn. Oh, me too. Well, he played out there in L.A. too, and Anaheim, wherever they were then, with the Angels. You're not such a bad brother. Hello, just a bad bunny. Fred Lynn was a great player, and injuries really kind of racked his career. Good morning, Billy. I did pick the Jets today. And if I can get in here, I will tell you who I'm taking for the rest of the picks. I'm going to do it right now. I'll go back to the college. The college maybe will give the reason. Nobody had more than 6, I can tell you that. I want to get to the NFL results here. And if it's as slow as it was a second ago, it's going to take me till the end of the show to get to the right page. And it's spinning. ESPN will do that sometimes. Ron Emery, the former NHL goaltender whose career spanned more than a decade and included stops in Ottawa, Chicago, and Philadelphia, drowned in Hamilton Harbor on Sunday. That's very sad. That's very sad. Not a name I'm familiar with, but that's what our Toronto or Ottawa or Ontario correspondent Chris F. Grave does. He brings up guys. It was Chris that brought that up. It wasn't you, was it, Brian? Garrett Anderson should be an Angels. I don't know about California, but I think he should be in the Angels Hall of Fame. Really good left-handed hitter, decent fielder early in his career. Also played with the Braves, but his career with the Angels, I think it was stellar. He had back-to-back seasons, 35, 117, 28, 123, 29, 123, 29, 116. That's from 2000 to 2003. He was a really good player. I might put him in the California Hall of Fame now that you mention it. 287 home runs, 1,365 RBIs, 290. There's worse guys than this in the Hall of Fame, for crying out loud. The Baseball Hall of Fame. And I'm not saying he should be a Hall of Famer. Good one, Chris. So did I miss the 5 a.m. show? I simulcast the big football show. Paul talked you out of it. Paul wasn't there either, I don't think. Keith, you confirmed 6 8. I was talking about my show. I'm sorry. My bad, Danny, if I confused you last night in the chat. When I thought we were talking about this show, it starts at 9 a.m., 6 a.m. Pacific. I do an hour on the big football show, as you know, from 5 your time until 9 o'clock. Is he in the Angels Hall of Fame? He's a good, I forgot how good a player he was. Ron Baer down there in the panhandle of Texas, I think. Is the panhandle the right term? Never touched the fighting Irish name. No, but we changed the logo. Can't have fists anymore. We got to have, as Chris said, the Lucky Charms Irish leprechaun. Yes, I believe Michael's writing is amazing. Guys, if you have not checked out Michael Dighton Edwards' articles that I post to TGI Sports Talk once or twice a week, please do so. The response has been tremendous to these articles, by the way. And I do share them to some of the groups that you may or may not be watching this from. May or may not. If you're watching, you're watching, right? And my personal page, so... Michael does some great stuff. I told him he should be submitting some of these articles to places that'll actually pay him to do it. We don't have that kind of budget. Please don't invite me to interview for at least 10 more years. I'll be here in 10 years, dude. Good morning, Michael, out in the UK. Over in the UK, we got about 20 minutes-ish. I got to get to the NFL picks here, guys. Let's see. I'm not going to do the college. I'm going to try to go to football, pro football. But every click is taking me forever on ESPN. I don't know what the problem is. That one went faster. Here's the standings right now. The leaders as we speak, Poppy's picks, Kenny, who doesn't come in and join us anymore on Sunday mornings. I wish you would. He's leading with 46. Redskins hitter Anthony, we haven't seen a bit. He's at 45, tied with some ESPN generic person at 45. Rick is at 45. I'm sorry, 44. My bad. Bo is at 43. The Sun God is at 42. Boston Paul's at 40. TGI Sports Talk's at 40. Michael is at 39. I'm going to say that is Sonia at 39. The J Train at 38. And bringing up the back, Scoobies will suck again. Where is Scott Kobe? At 38. Remember, these are all without the point, so this isn't the betting that I will do today. I have no idea where I'm going today in the cigar box. So we'll do our picks here in a second if this ever comes up. There it is. All right, here we go. You ready, guys? I had picked the Rams Thursday night. They lost. And by the way, Mac Jones playing some good football. Mac Jones and Daniel Jones, two great stories this year. And Mac wants to say, or Jack, speaking of interesting, Jack talks up Mac Jones, but talks down Daniel Jones. You go figure that out. I'm a fan of both because both of them got screwed up in their careers with the teams that drafted them. Bill Belichick, thank you. I did take Minnesota that was in this game that's being played right now. I like the Colts over the Raiders. Raiders are very disappointing. I'm going to take the Saints over the Giants. I'm switching off. I had the Giants. I'm going to take the Saints. Got to win somewhere. It's the same reason I'm taking the Jets over the Cowboys. You got to win somewhere. And if bad teams are playing bad teams, I'll take the home team pretty much every time. I do like the Eagles. There's some of the panel this morning like the Broncos, but the Broncos have been disappointing. That defense has not been playing up to what people thought they were. Bo Nix, until last week against the pitiful Bengals defense, has not played well, nearly as well as he did last year anyway. Something seems amiss a bit with the Broncos, and the Eagles are playing good football. They look like a team looking for a loss, as I've said, but they're 4-0. And as that fat bastard said, you are what your record says you are. They're 4-0. I know Jack thinks they're going to crumble. I mean, I think I'm not a big Nick Sirianni fan, but I think he learned something in that collapse 2 years ago. He almost cost him his job. I'm going to take the Panthers at home over the woeful Dolphins. Awful injury to Tyreek Hill the other day, by the way. I'm going to take the Ravens over the Texans, mainly because they're home, and I think Cooper Rush can play well for a game at least. Texans have not shown me anything on offense that tells me they can go on the road and win this game. I'm going to take the Cardinals, which can't be our survivor pick, by the way, because we've already taken them. I like the Seahawks at home over Tampa Bay. I like the Lions to just beat the crap out of the Bengals today. I'll take the Chargers to bounce back against the Commanders, even with Jaden Daniels back. McLaren is out. I like the Chargers. And you know me, I'm not picking against my team. Patriots shock the world tonight with an upset over the Bills, or they get hammered, one or the other. And I'll take the Chiefs to continue their winning ways and beat Jacksonville tomorrow night in a somewhat interesting Monday Night Football game. Geez, I'm looking at this. I think the Colts are probably going to be our survivor pick today. That could change once I talk to my buddy, but I believe that's where we're going to end up going. So let me hammer some of these comments so we can make sure we can get out of here in 14 minutes. Yesterday, I watched most of the Blue Jays-Yankee game, watched the Phillies and Dodgers, switched to the Seminoles Hurricane, now watching the game in London. Michael Gott keeping up on his American sports. That's what we like to see. We're going to turn this Englishman into an ugly American, no matter how hard it is. Just kidding, Michael. We love having you with us. Is there any difference between left on base and team left on bases in baseball? It's just a total. So left on base, which you can usually see a picture of Giancarlo Stanton there, was probably referring to the individual person left on base. number of people left on base, and the team would be the total they left on base, which the Yankees do a very good job of. Bill Parcells, a terrible human being. Met him in 98. He actually hated himself. I met him at a bar in Saratoga. I know what you mean. He has a home here locally, and not a nice guy. He's a great football coach. Horrible person. Left every single organization he was ever with, maybe not the Cowboys, worse off than when he got there. They all did well while he was there, but he left them in disarray. We all know the Patriots story. I've told it over and over. The Giants, they win their second Super Bowl, and he waits until like May to resign or retire. And they're stuck with Ray Handley as their coach, and you Giant fans know how that went. By the way, we had a discussion this morning, too. Jack was talking about the Jets being a marquee job. When's the last marquee coach they hired outside of Bill Parcells? The only marquee coach I can remember them hiring in the last 50 years. Nobody wants that job. People say no. Ronnie says yes. I'm assuming he's out in the panhandle. Blue Jays, look. Listen, I told you. And again, Yankees do need their rally caps, by the way. If we came away here with a split, I've been happy. So we get that split today. We don't win with Max Fried on the mound. We're not winning this series anyway. So I'm not upset with a 10-1 loss yesterday. It is what it is. I would rather win the game, obviously. I'm not getting my panties in a bunch. Sorry if that offends anybody wearing panties today. But I like where they stand. Cracker Barrel went on the non-offensive logo. Good for them. One of the few, actually, the only one I can remember ever who caved to pressure, who went back. Kudos to you, Cracker Barrel. Good call, Danny. Brian says Michael does do some great writing. Absolutely, 100%. We all can say that. I'm actually Redskins hope it's not offensive. It's not. I'm not really following what you're saying there. Are you part Indian? Because I am, or at least as much as oh crap, what's her face? Now I lost her name. I had it in my head. Senator from Massachusetts, Pocahontas, who's like 1/1000th. Like everybody in this country is same amount of American Indian. Not everybody. Obviously, if you I did it again. Obviously, if you were part of a Native American family and they stayed within Native American I don't know what I want to say without sounding like a moron or more like a moron. Anyway, what the hell is her name? Only ran for president. I try to forget these people's names. So Danny loves the Colts today. I do too. It'll probably be a bet, and it'll probably be our survivor pick, I would think. The problem is everybody's going to be on them. NFL headline this year could be keeping up with the Joneses. Good one, Michael. Both of them have done very, very well. Jack did pick the Broncos for sure. Was he still talking about dissension in the Eagles, dissension in the Patriots? Danny likes the Giants. How do you pick that game? I can't bet it. Jack doesn't believe in momentum, so I'm taking breaks running on momentum. He tells me he doesn't believe in momentum. And then the next word, before the Tigers series, after the Tigers series, he said, I think the Tigers can build off this momentum. Good morning, Dave Guyette. out in Amsterdam, New York. How are you, my friend? Yankees big one today, buddy. Syracuse pummeled again. I don't know if they played yesterday, actually. Chiefs continue to get healthy. They will win the West again. I'm starting to think so. The Chargers are really good. Broncos are missing something. But listen, I've been on the Chiefs. Well, certainly since the Patriots been bad. I've liked the Chiefs, and you're the champion until you're not. And people have tried to write them off the last 5 years. They've gotten off the iffy starts. They haven't won games by enough points. Somehow they're 2-2 with hardly any wide receivers to speak of through the first 4 games. They're getting healthy. They're going to get Rice back here in another week, I think. Maybe it's 2 weeks, but still, this team is good, and they've got the best coach in the NFL. They got the best quarterback and the best coach. You're always going to have a chance to win. Even when the Patriots weren't that good, they had a chance and competed because they had the best coach and the best quarterback. When that was the case. G. Stanton, pick of luck on base, right? Jets, a marquee job. I don't know what was in Jack. There was Jack in Jack's coffee this morning. No Coke, just Jack. You're Redskins in the pool. I see. Yes, you are offensive. Absolutely. Just in general, Danny. I mean, not because of the Redskins. You're just in general. I'm kidding, my friend. Thanks, BA. Appreciate the support, brother. Go Lions. Come on, sycophants. Just kidding. Elizabeth Warren, thank you. Jesus. Should care more about funding the government over sport. Yes. We won't fund the government, but let's let boys play girls sports and go to the locker room. Blah blah blah. Bad Joneses this year. Aaron Jones and Jerry Jones. Good. Nice kick. Aaron Jones, I think his shelf life is expired, I think. Oh, they did. That's right. They played SMU. Thank you, Michael. I thought they got beat up. SMU is not very good this year either. But I look at the Hurricanes' schedule, and the toughest games they have are at home, Louisville and North Carolina State, and those are not great teams. So without some major hiccup, this team could go to the ACC championship game undefeated. Chargers will beat the formerly known Redskins today, known for and throw for 300 yards, no doubt. I'm with that. I like the Chargers today as well. I picked the Patriots to make a wild card at 9-8. Problem is they've already lost 2 games at home that I had them winning. So let me just see. The Patriots are playing better, and the Patriots are getting better. They got to take care of the freaking football. Let's just say they lose tonight. I mean, got to be realistic. So they lose to the Bills. They'll be 2-3. They beat the Saints 3-3. They beat the Titans. That's 4-3. They beat the Browns. That's 5-3. I think they beat the Falcons at home. That's 6-3. Lose to the Bucs 6-4. 7-4. They beat the Jets. I had the Bengals a loss. Now it's a win. 8-4. 9-4 Giants. Lose to the Bills again. 9-5. Lose to the Ravens. 9-6. Maybe lose it to Jets. 9-7. Beat the Dolphins. I still see room for 10 wins here. 10 wins. So now have increased. If they continue to improve, the defense and offensive lines have got to be better. We got to pressure quarterbacks. Got to get off the field on third down. We got to stop turning the ball over. It's okay to be offensive. I'm from that other country, as Keith would say. Well, listen, I could say the same thing about where I am, Danny. So we're in the same boat. Kane should go to the college football playoff number 1. Buckeyes won't beat Michigan again. Book it. Ooh. Michael throwing down the gauntlet early. Played good yesterday. Bryce Underwood with his best game yet. Right now, ESPN has Miami ranked number 1 in their college football poll, which isn't official of any kind, just ESPN being ESPN. Yeah, I can see 9. Again, one of the games I counted as a win, and you know, they're likely to lose, right? They'll throw a stinker up there against the Giants or something. But I think they still get the 9 because there's a couple wins in here that I didn't have them winning now later on. I mean, if they were to beat the Jets twice and then the Dolphins that last week, 11 wins isn't out of the question. But again, that's going to mean what? They'd have to go 9-3 the rest of the way. That's asking a lot. But the team's getting better, and I'm happy. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. That was a great show today, and I apologize that we're getting done a little bit earlier than we normally do with the 10:45 thing, but we need to kind of get things ready so I don't have to rush right out the door and I can kiss my wife goodbye. But there'll be weeks we'll be back to 2 hours after football for sure. In any event, thank you all. Watch us tomorrow morning on Jack and Keith's Weekend Playbook. And remember, Tuesday, 6 p.m., I'll put a post up, College Football Huddle, special day and time. We'll see you then. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talk Sunday Stream of Consciousness. Bye-bye.